It has blown my mind. I hope I can blow in yours. Because now I'm doing this part two apparently. There has been so much more information from Stefan Molyneux, The Myth of Patriarchy. It's a myth. No, not necessarily. Men are better than women in every aspect, except for one aspect. And yes, we need to protect and nurture women. We need to make sure that they're safe. They're doing completely different, just like raiders and breeders. There's this division where creators have a lot of power and the breeders have plenty of responsibility, so they have to be protected, absolutely. However, the authority is the real problem here. We live under a socialism structure. Stefan Molyneux has made an amazing statement. This power gets so abused when it's combined with the power of the state. So it's the power of socialism that he refers to. He doesn't necessarily recognize that we live under socialism still. The society has never really changed from where we first started. Jacque Fresco gave a very nice story about living in an island with a separate society of people in a tribe. They're not community, they're society because they live separately from everyone else. They don't care to trade, they don't care to do anything. They don't have a money system to begin with. A money system is one of those things that binds us so very well to pretend, to make us pretend that we live in a society still. And we do. We buy into the religion, and as long as we follow this religion, and we feel like we need to follow this religion for a little while longer, we need to make sure that it just dies naturally. Because there's one process that is going to happen right now, and it's the process of finding the right fruits or the right women that did not got brainwashed just yet. And that's just the most mind-blowing part because, well, let me conclude a little later. Jacque Fresco lived in this very young society that embraced socialism a lot more than we would normally experience in our society. But he got a boat. He took a boat from the people, and he pretty much got it for free, let's say. And after 5 days, those people just took a boat from him because he didn't use it. And that was fascinating. Again, there's this society that didn't use money, but they knew that it's very important to share things. So if you don't use something, you should give it to the society, back into the society. Right now, as we have the money system, all of a sudden, we're capable of lying. We're capable of accumulating wealth and pretending that we need that wealth. But in reality, if we are rich, we're supposed to give back to the society the things that we don't need, because the society is always going to give us the things that we need, right? If we need it, we're just going to get it. Socialism is being abused right now. Just like Stefan Molyneux says, and it has been abused for a long time. We have been in wars, we have exploded in population, we have been we're still being used as slaves to create all this wealth for people that we don't care about. And most importantly, that wealth is imprisoning women in lies and brainwashing. It's the women that being attacked in a way. It's not the other way around. Men are just being enslaved. Women are being attacked and brainwashed. They're the targets because they care about socialism so much. And the most important part is to pretend that socialism still exists. And it's better than ever before. Look at all these advancements that we have of all the technology that we don't necessarily need. However, because they're being fed social media, look at all these tools that you can present yourself to the society. It's breaking down dating, it's breaking down relationships. Yes, you can present yourself as a person who has found something, some kind of valuable thing. You found it. You want to share with everyone. It's great. But you must not dilute yourself and think that everything has to be shared. Most of the stuff has to be shared with the person that you love. Simply because it is specific and very personal stuff that you have found or invented. It's stuff that you don't want to share. It's private and very much needed to create a proper bond and just have some secrets. Secrets is what creates relationships. A bunch of secrets. Very interesting. See where we are right now? We're being abused, and it has been a long time. It has been such a long time, and it's going to take 50 more years, I believe. This clock is saying that it's going to tick 5 more times until it resets. And it's going to get worse. Crazy enough, it is going to get so much worse. Women are going to be weaponized and going to attack the men even further. Not just what you say, but you have to treat them. You will have to treat women as best as you can. You're going to be even a bigger slave as a man. That's what they want. The authority is going to push this narrative as far as they can. If you have accepted to be a slave, they will keep on training that acceptance and keep on going. One of those, I have drawn like 8 criteria of how men are being attacked. They're discussed in the video itself, but I have to paint my own light on the things that are happening. Again, Stefan Molyneux made other great statements like, I think community is very important, pointing the finger at what's going to happen next. However, he doesn't understand fully the way the clock works to begin with. I mean, this is my invention, right? Nobody understands that. But it's so fascinating that it works exactly, and it describes the events very, very well, at least so far. So I should be able to predict what's going to happen, and that we are going to eventually go into our communities and say that the technology that we are inventing right now, an ability to read people's emotions, is like an ability to create AI that communicates with you. It's like, at some point, it is the most biggest bullshit you can think of, and it's not going to benefit us at all. It's good technology. It is very outstanding to look at and experience, just like diversity. Yeah, it's great to experience stuff like that, but it's going to rip us apart. Holy shit. It can be weaponized against us much easier than we can use that technology to begin with, because these people in authority, they don't give a fuck about emotions whatsoever. They want to read emotions, they want to understand people and how to manipulate them. They don't give a fuck about reading the emotions themselves, however, right? They just need power, they just need more authority, and they're going to destroy themselves, so we have to let them do that. Because if they think they can get away with trying and destroy socialism, which they live under right now, the authority is just like a parasite, but it's a parasite that we need. And the most mind-blowing part was linking this with Naruto yet again. Linking this with ninjas. The ninja world that we have been presented through the world of Naruto. in the very end of Naruto Shippuden, all the people get in the Infinite Tsukiyomi, after the war, people start to get brainwashed into thinking that everything is wonderful. Everything is and you can sort of put Madara into this authority figure where he planned for this for a long, long time, and he was resurrected for exactly this purpose. And now it's the time to brainwash people. Some absolutely amazing. And there's so many tools right now to do that, exactly that. To tell women lies that life is a lot better than they think that it actually is. It's not that great, okay? We can tell lies. We can be nice to women, and we're going to be forced to be nice to women. We're going to be forced to pretend. And if you don't fall in line with that, you're going to be so punished. You will have to find your community. You have to build your community right now. Because the moment the authorities angry at you is going to throw you away really quickly. I think UK is doing a good job in trying to do exactly that, at least point the finger at, we should make a community, guys, because this is crazy. Clearly Brexit is not going to happen. It's going to be diluted in so many ways. The authorities are going to make sure that we don't get what we want. But we are going to take what we want. Nobody's going to force us without us resisting the force. It's just how it works. One interesting factor is women nature as well. I call them the fruits to be eaten and seeded. It is such a beautiful concept because that's just what they are. They have very specific set of boundaries that they want to fill themselves up with love and passion and things that anyone can consume and be like super happy about it. Super happy hanging out with women, so to speak. Because they're just full of things that anyone likes. It's great. They're attractive. They're trying to be attractive. So why? Well, to be eaten. To have that exact purpose of looking ripe. To have this value. However, they're being lied again. That they are being eaten, that they are being used for something. When in fact, they're being injected with poison. And sold for people, trafficked. In some cases they get just depressed because there are no men that actually likes them. Just getting social media likes is not going to satisfy them whatsoever. But the moment they realize, the moment they start struggling, is the moment that we have to also start struggling in order to save the right type of women. I think the way Naruto series ended was a total falsity. You cannot just beat Kaguya like that. I think the war of Tsukiyomi is that where everyone gets enslaved by definition, and no one escapes, not even Sasuke is capable of defending himself against this ultimate plan. And there's just sort of the border just shouldn't even exist in the way that it works. So I think this is where it was so fascinating, because I did that already. I already deviated that story, and I already told to myself, like, this is not how it ends. This is not how the story ends. You don't just defeat the bad guy just because he enslaved, and that bad guy sort of... It's very interesting, isn't it? There was this Madara guy who represented authority, but there was a higher authority represented by a woman that was defeated by Naruto and replaced with something else. Interesting. Very interesting. Also a tree. Think about the tree representation, because I call this the chakra tree, the tree that brainwashes people and puts them into the Tsukuyomi itself. And now that I've told what women nature is to be fruits, it sort of connects in a very weird manner, really awkward. Obviously, everyone gets to become a fruit at that point, but maybe there's more to it, right? The way the story was told in Naruto, maybe there's something in there that is worth exploring even further, because, like, holy shit, that blows my mind. The parallels. The parallel that Tenten represents exactly the same sensitive being, the water type being, as I've figured out her personality. And Tenten was the character who tried to resist Tsukuyomi from the inside out, but she couldn't do it, and she got brainwashed. But maybe there are people that, were capable of saving somehow. Like, Naruto universe didn't really give enough flexibility and say, here's what you can do in those infinite Tsukuyomi, and that you can actually escape it from inside. That would be nice, because I know for a fact they have explained one thing, one fatal flaw of this, is that when Itachi imprisoned Kakashi, he says, before he does that, he says, well, you're not going to resist this infinite Tsukuyomi thing unless you have some kind of special genes for that, which is very interesting. It sort of deviates because obviously not everyone watches Naruto, but maybe there's something I can learn from that. It's really interesting. At least this image of saving Tenten is just really strong for me. So, yeah, I have my own inventions, I have my own weird story parallels going on. And again, you can look at these points that I extracted from the video of Stefan Molyneux interview and understand that men are being enslaved quite a bit, and women are being weaponized. Women are turned into poison apples. If you eat an apple, you're going to put into a marriage where you're going to be ripped apart. Women are given welfare, so these apples are being took into baskets and filled with poison, and they're being taken care of by extracting men's effort, right? Again, we're being imprisoned for that shit. Unwanted pregnancies is how women can claim a man, pretty much. Again, it's poison. It's a poison mindset to even attempt such a thing. So we have to be very aware that it is sometimes women's weapon of choice, because the authority allows it to become a weapon to begin with. It embraces as such. Sexual assault allegations as well. It's like crazy. What's going on? So you have to be very, very careful, very goddamn picky about those fucking apples. Holy shit. Chivalry, get rid of that thing. You'll be asked to do it. You don't need that. You need to make sure that the apple is good to eat, because right now we have crazy shit going on. And you're gonna be killed, pretty much. You're gonna be in a perpetual depression at best for having a fake relationship. There is no bonding. The technology have already destroyed relationships. We have Tinder to find a sex partner, but not to have a relationship. Because if you try to have relationships, all of a sudden we realize, oh shit, we don't actually have enough men for that. So a lot of men just sort of play into this dating game where they become the sexual toys for women as well. Again, it's one of those chivalry things. It's crazy. It's so weird. And they feel like it feels good for them, right? But it feels like they're winning the game when actually the opposite is happening. They don't understand anything. One of my friends got into that shit, I believe. The health gap. Men die a lot earlier than women. Crazy, right? But it's actually another form of welfare, another form of funding women's healthcare instead of men's. Women are being taken care of so damn well, apparently. And lastly, and most importantly, circumcision. The most sacred way to create more authority. You know why? By directly attacking a man's sensitivity. The moment you attack feelings and sensitivity of a man, and I'm glad I still have that intact. Holy shit. This is when you really have the person. You can turn him directly into authority. The idea that you can take baby foreskins and live longer is sort of like a shitty conspiracy. It's a meme. However, there is some truth to it because you're literally creating more authority by doing this. You're creating a person who's going to be desensitized and who's going to love to abuse the system as much as possible to make sure that, you know, he's going to read emotions with your computer. We'll see how you react to certain ads, and he's going to advertise that to you. He's going to rip the money out of you big time. Doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about society anymore. The socialism is completely being hijacked. But that's the part of the process. Funny enough. That's the part of the clock. And it's inevitable. And we have to figure out how to keep on going forward. And if we don't, it's just everything will collapse eventually. It's a collective type of way to move forward. Simple as that. Survival. And it's never going to stop necessarily. But the further that we get, the better that our lives get automatically. I mean, authority didn't really necessarily make our lives worse. We got computers, we got things to do. Now we're not as bored. But we're lonely. We're very lonely. We have a lack of bonding for sure. The technology is ruining society in general. As individuals, we can sort of struggle with that just enough to feel good about ourselves, but it's not going to happen. This is why one of those ticks that we live in right now is the battle royale stage, where to feel good about ourselves, we need to beat 100 people. 100 people, and then we feel good about ourselves. Great. We need to become the 1% at something at least. That will feel great. Yeah. It's mostly for men. But, you know, women are getting involved into gaming simply because of the principle of diversity. Again, as I've disclaimed in Diversity versus Love, diversity is experience, but experience has nothing to do with bonding. Except that you take a little part and you sort of appreciate person for his differences, but there's a few things that you find similar. However, you can only love a person who's very similar to you, and you don't have to conflict with too many ideas that he would believe in. So that's very important. Diversity is not going to breed love, and yet it's being embraced as the amazing thing. Again, it's just destroy relationships. And the moment you destroy relationships in a society, you can abuse people really quickly. Because let's say there's you want to find a job, you can get a shitty job, and if you aren't capable of complaining to other people about it that you're getting a bad job, if you aren't capable of giving a bad review, which all reviews can be manipulated at this point, if you aren't capable of warning people, you shouldn't go there, it's a fucking scam, things are gonna get so damn bad. Obviously, now that we have social media, that we can share those things and review those things, we can still sort of resist, and the authority cannot fully destroy this, but who knows, right? This is an apocalyptic scenario. This is going to change radically. We either going to jump into communities and survive or not. It's a very, very tricky scenario. And women are going to attack. You want that or not, most of them are going to attack. There's going to be great women who are not yet poisoned, who kind of have been protected by decent parents, by decent fathers, most importantly. Someone like Stefan Molyneux's daughter, like, damn, we gotta protect that person. We gotta protect people like her, right? Because it seems like one of the best families that I know on the internet, actually. Yeah, this video is certainly long and involves a lot of things. I'm gonna go back to exploring Naruto universe, apparently, because there's a lot of weird connections there that I still need to fully explore. How the infinite Tsukuyomi actually works. There are a few more hints to be found, I believe. So, this is gonna be tricky. Again, we have 50 years. The next stick is going to be about criticism, I believe. We'll see. 50 years. For fuck's sake.